Relics scattered west and east, power bound must be released. You heard about the relics. The 6 different objects that I used to bind this place. I told my companions to take these relics and scatter them to the wind, never to be seen again, and not to tell anybody where they were.
And rumor has it that she has a contact that lives outside of this kingdom who may have come into possession of a very, very unusual magical item. It's a little round wooden bowl. It has a little lid on it. I just know that it's a strange aura about this item. You want to travel to Baywith, go all the way, leave your homeland, just to go look at a little magic box? Really? What's that important to you, huh?
There was a band of privateers who infiltrated the city of Baywith and conducted a series of robberies. They took the box, that little strange box. I did not see the thieves when they were here, and none of my guards saw their faces either, but I have heard whispers that there was someone that they robbed who did happen to see at least one of their faces.
It was the face of a woman that had 2 very distinct scars across the bridge of her nose. If anyone was going to attack the city of Baywith, it seems like it might be these sand pirates. There is a place that they are said to have congregated in the past. It's a place called the Ice Bar.
Look who finally decided to walk up to my table. You've been staring for a while now, stranger. Tell me, is it someone on my crew who has caught your eye? Or maybe it's me you can't stop staring at. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. Just curious what has you squinting so hard through the dust and the smoke in this place. You don't look like you're from around here. Not with boots that clean. A traveler. That is a rather vague answer, but I suppose this is a place for vague answers, isn't it? It would make sense. A traveler finding themselves here. Quite a magical marvel, isn't it? The famed Ice Bar of the glittering city of Baywith. Not too many places in the desert realms can you escape from the heat of the day and walk in and find yourself chilled. You know, they actually have blankets and coats and things at the front if you think you're going to get a bit too cold while you're here. I welcome the chill. Although I am a creature of the desert too. Well, I know, traveler, that you did not come to this city via a sand ship, which means that you must have walked through the sands to get here. Brave, if not, of course, more than a little foolish, but brave nonetheless. So, what is it that had you staring? What is it you think you saw, Desert Walker? Us? Just traveling merchants, passing through. Traders. Spice, fine cloth, the occasional antique, if it's shiny enough. Just honest folk making an honest living. No, I'm not saying that you're being rude, but when someone stares as intently as you were in these parts, well, usually they're either looking to pick a fight or ask a favor. You don't seem quite foolish enough to pick a fight on your own. So it must be a favor you're after. Something stolen. I'm not sure I like what you're implying, friend. We are but humble traders, as I said. Of course, if we acquire certain items at an excellent bargain, who could blame us? It is a difficult world living in the desert. She is a treacherous mistress. Always take whatever she gives you. That is the creed I live by. All right, then. Speak your piece. What is this stolen item that you seem to have misplaced? A box. The whole desert is full of boxes, Desert Walker. Some full of spice, some full of bones, some full of curses that should remain sealed. You're looking for a little round one, little wooden box, pretty paintings on it. Temple relic, you say? That's rather specific. You know, I might remember having seen something like that in our recent trades around here. Pretty little thing. Didn't seem worth much, unless you had a poet's soul or a scholar's itch. Didn't seem like it was all that much trouble. But the Queen certainly gave some clear instructions about a box that seems to match the description. Curious. Of course, it's not here. Nothing stays in one place for very long in our profession. Traders, that is. No, that box was sent with some other merchandise on ahead in another one of our sand ships. It's probably halfway to Hara by now. I've never heard of Hara. I suppose that is not unusual, being new to these parts. Hara is an outpost, I suppose you could say. A city built on stilts above the desert. All platforms and ladders, twisted causeways. A perfect haven for traders like myself. It can be a bit rough around the edges. It's difficult to find, of course, if you don't know where it is, and nearly impossible to get there without transport on a sand ship. Desert dragons, sandworms, spirits of the cursed ruins, any number of dangerous things between here and Hara. But with the proper know-how of the desert, of course, someone of my caliber could get there. Don't look so disappointed, Desert Walker. Your little trinket box is not gone. Simply on a journey, much like you. Come, have a seat. Why don't you drink with me? I feel a proposition coming on between us, and that is always better over a drink. Wouldn't you agree? Have you ever had the pleasure of tasting ice wine before? Good, good. It is a delicacy in these parts, made from a very special type of grape. I must admit I don't know all that much about the process of actually making it. Just that it feels like wine, but tastes like a wintry breeze. Very refreshing. Such a hot day. May I pour you a glass? No, I do not mind at all. Nothing like sharing a drink with a new friend. We are friends, aren't we? Good, good. Here you are, Desert Walker. Now, do not let the taste fool you. This can certainly sneak up on you. I would sip it slowly to start, if I were you. There we are. What sort of host would I be if I did not also join you in a drink? So, this little trinket box that you seem to have misplaced, what's it worth to you? Coin? A favor, perhaps? Oh, or are you the honest type who believe that only honest effort should get you what you want? You want to work for it. You wish to ride with us on my sand ship, do you? Well, you don't just ask to join a sand ship crew, Desert Walker. Listen. I sure as salt don't trust a smooth-talking, out-of-place stranger who strolls in asking about stolen things. And I definitely don't know why a dusty little box like that is enough to have you crossing the dunes, looking like you haven't slept in 3 days. But maybe I don't need to know all of that. Like I said, you don't just ask to join a sand ship crew. You earn it. What do you say, Desert Walker? We'll settle this the old way, with a game of Scorch. Have you heard of it? Oh, it is very, very simple. Desert born, sand tested. The game of traders, drifters, and any bastards lucky enough to call themselves belonging to the sands. It's simple enough to learn. Even a sand slug could learn to play if they had hands. It's a simple enough game, played with cards. Do you play cards much where you are from, traveler? Oh, it is very, very simple. We will only play one hand. No second chances. Not to worry, I will teach you what you need to know. Of course, you don't have to play. You can walk away, pride intact, and empty-handed. But if you do choose to play, and you beat me, maybe I see what good you are aboard the ship. If you lose, well, I happen to have a very thirsty crew of fellow traders with me. They would thank you very much for buying them a round of drinks. What do you say, Desert Walker? shall we test the fates of the sands? Excellent. Now, let me take out my decks here. Now, in here, I have 2 decks of cards, identical. The number of cards, the type of cards, perfectly the same in every way except the color on the back. I will use one deck to teach you the game, and then we will play with the other one. Now, rest assured, where I come from, Scorch is a sacred tradition. I enjoy someone who understands how to take risks, how to test fate, and how to bluff. But I abhor cheaters. These decks are, as I said, exactly identical. You may shuffle through them as much as you would like, so that you know I am being honest with you. Yeah. See? Just 2 little decks of cards there. One with red and one with green. A basic deck of cards. 52 cards. 13 in 4 different suits. You are familiar? At least a little, perhaps. Good. As I said, you are welcome to peruse them as much as you want, or you can take my word that they are honest hands. I will let you shuffle as well, and cut the deck before we play, so you know I am not pulling anything on you. Now, as for the game, would you like me to teach you on the red deck or on the green? Whatever you don't choose, we will play on. Excellent. All right. I will teach you using the green, and then we will play with the red. Now, the game itself is very, very simple, really. All you have to do is have the best hand when the game is done, or bluff convincingly enough that I think you do. See, we will start out. Each of us will draw 3 cards from the deck. You will look at yours, I will look at mine, but we will not share them with each other. Then we will bid. Now, of course, if you don't think you have a very good hand, you do not have to bid ever. But if you do not bid, then the game will not continue and you will have to leave here empty-handed, of course. Now you have a chance to pull out, as I said, to fold, or to bid, or to raise the bid as well. If I bid and then you wish to bid more, but you must at least bid the same amount that I do. I'm sure that is understandable. Then, after we go through our cards, and we do one round of bidding, you can choose to test the fates of the sands again. So you will have, as I said, 3 cards in your hand. You may choose at that point to discard 1 or 2 of them and pick up new cards from the deck. However, once these leave your hand, there is no going back. As in life, once you make a choice, sometimes you are stuck with it. And if you just discard 1, you cannot go back and discard another one after that. You must make a decisive decision. So, you may discard 1 or 2 or none of your cards, and then replace them. And then we bid again. You may raise the bid if you would like, or just match. And then the final reveal. You show me your hand and I show you mine, and we see who goes home the winner and who has been scorched by the desert. Now, about the hands. How you actually get points in a game such as this. There are 5 different ways that you could possibly win. Let me see. Here we are. The first and most powerful hand is one where you have 3 cards, all of the same value, the same number, or 3 kings, 3 queens, 3 aces, whatever the case may be. 3 of the same. That is called a Scorch hand, and it is the highest and most powerful hand that will trump anything else. Here, I'll lay these to the side here, so you can keep an eye on them. Remember what you are looking for in your hand. Then, after the Scorch hand, comes the Sandstorm, the second most powerful of the hands. And that is where you have 3 cards in a row. And you do not have to match the suits. That would be nearly impossible, I would think. Just any 3 cards in a sequence. Whether it be Jack, Queen, King, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. You get the idea. I will even say that you could do King, Ace, 2 if you wished. I would allow that, as long as they all fit together in one sequence or another. So that is the second highest hand that you may wish to collect. Now there is some debate among Scorch players whether or not a Sandstorm all of the same suit trumps that of a Scorch hand. Personally, I've never even seen that happen, but I suppose if it does, and one of us has a Scorch hand and one of us has a pure Sandstorm, well, I will suppose we will cross those dunes when we get there. I don't think that we will. Now, the third most powerful hand, and one of the more common ones, as I'm sure you can imagine, those types of hands are rather difficult to come by. But it is possible to pick out an oasis from the desert sun. That is where you have 3 cards, any cards, of the same suit. 3 clubs, 3 hearts, 3 diamonds, 3 spades. They don't have to be in order, just any 3 cards that all have the same little picture on them. Yes, makes sense. Very simple, as I said. Even a sandslug could play this game. Yeah. You see, very simple so far. A Scorch hand, and then the Sandstorm, and the Oasis, the highest 3 hands you can have. Now, don't worry, my friend, too much about what each of them are called. That is perfectly fine if you do not know that, but I will leave these out so you can see what you are looking for. Let the cards do the talking for you, yes? Now, of course, if you don't happen to have any of those, it is possible to win with what we call a twin mirage. Just a pair. Any 2 cards that are the same with a little tail there. Now, if you have a pair and I have a pair, the winner will be whoever has the higher of the pairs. And if the sands decide to laugh at us, and you have a pair of 6s, and I also have the other pair of 6s, then it will be determined by the other card. Again, I have never seen that happen, but you understand. Ties go to the higher card. I suppose that makes sense. then of course it is possible that we have a game where the sands laugh at both of us. Neither of us come out with any of these other hands. The Scorch hand, the sandstorm, the oasis, or a twin mirage. And then you'd better hope you have the high card. If neither of us have anything, then it will come down to whoever has the best single card in their hand. An ace or a face, whatever the case, as long as it's the highest. Makes sense. There, see, it is very simple. As I said, anyone could learn to play this. So I will leave these from our training green deck here. I'll leave them over here to the side so that you can see them. Look at them when you need to. I know this is your first time playing, so I would not want ignorance to be the reason that I win. Simply the fates of the desert. There. You see, I will give you every advantage to be able to win against me. It really will just come down to the fates, don't you think? Good. Of course, there is also something to be said for helping your opponent to see what you have, perhaps as better than it actually is. Bluffing. Yes, I abhor a cheater, but I do like a good bluff. If you can fool me, perhaps that will get you some points anyway. Do you play cards much, Desert Walker, or do you prefer to just stare at people from across the room until they give you what you want? Well, perhaps we will make a Scorch player out of you yet. Alright, I'll put away the rest of the green deck here. And we'll play with the red. As I said, you are welcome to shuffle through the deck as much as you would like. I guarantee there is nothing wrong with it. No missing cards, no trick aces, nothing of the like. 52 cards, 13 each, in 4 different suits. Count them as much as you like. I want you to feel confident that I am not cheating. You are satisfied? Good, 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 good. Well then, Desert Walker, shall we play? Shall we see what the fate of the sands has in store for us? Good, good. Let me shuffle a bit. You are welcome to shuffle as well, as I said, and I will let you cut the deck before we begin. There. Would you like to shuffle as well? Or are you content to let me do the honors? Alright, not to worry. But you are welcome to cut the deck before we get started. Very good, very good. Now, shall we begin? Now, of course, you are welcome to look at your cards, but make sure I do not see them, alright? Here we are, Desert Walker. no turning back now, Desert Walker. Good, good. Go on, take a peek. See what the sands have blessed you with. Interesting. How do you like your hand, Desert Walker? My hand? Oh, I have got a killer hand. Makes grown men cry and captains drink twice. You don't look impressed. Maybe you've got something strong too. Sandstorm, maybe. Beginner's luck. The desert sands favoring a brave traveler. Maybe an oasis. Or maybe you're bluffing like a good little liar. Well, here comes the part where you decide. Do you bet? Or do you fold? I dealt, so it's your bet. Your choice, traveler. Good, good. I do very much hate a coward. Of course, would be happy to call your bet. There you are, Desert Walker. A bold move to start with, of course, but if your hand is as good as your face as it is, then it shouldn't be an issue, should it? Well, good. As I said, I cannot stand cowards. And now you must make your second decision. You must decide, do you keep the 3 cards the desert gave you, or do you press your luck with fate once more? Remember, you must discard before grabbing new cards, and once they are discarded, they are gone. 1 chance is all the desert grants. What do you think? You're discarding one? I thought you had a good hand, Desert Walker. Maybe not as good as you thought. Or at least not as good as your face made it appear. Or maybe you are the greedy type, always wanting something better, even when you have something good. Good is never good enough, Maybe. All right, of course. Take your new card. May the sands blow in your favor. You seemed to like that. Good. Me? Well, your expression does look rather smug, but even with that last gift of the desert, the sand is still not blowing in your favor. I think I'll keep my 3 cards. Thank you very much. Scared. You should be, Desert Walker. I told you I have a killer hand. Well, it's time for our second round of bets. What do you say we make it a little more interesting this time around? Coin I have of plenty, but perhaps you have something a bit more interesting than just some gold or silver. Got anything else that might please a dusty old sand captain like myself? Little trinkets, magical items. Not like that dusty little box, of course. Something actually genuinely valuable. crystal? Well, it's lovely, Desert Walker. Sure. Smoky quartz, is it not? Yes, it's a pretty little stone, isn't it? Not anything particularly special. I was hoping someone of your mystery might bring something a bit more unique to the table. Oh, it's an enchanted stone, you say? That could make it quite a bit more interesting, couldn't it? If it's true, of course. How exactly is this little stone enchanted, if you don't mind, may I ask? It glows and gets warm when someone is lying to me. Really? Well, someone in my position, that could be quite a useful little item. If you're telling the truth, of course. Here, demonstrate. Hold out your hand for me, and I will tell you a lie. No, you do not get to lie to me. I may not know whether it is a lie or not. And I will tell you a lie, and we'll see if this little stone is as miraculous as you say. I am Shizuna Daro, slayer of Zuvrit the Tyrant, queen of Hara. Interesting. A very useful little stone, isn't it? There are lots of stones in the desert, but this one could certainly come in handy. Position that I find myself in. Interesting. That's more like it, Desert Walker. I was hoping you would have something intriguing like this. Are you sure you are willing to part with this, should you lose? It would be a sad item to have to say goodbye to. You are that confident in your hand. All right. As you wish, Desert Walker. That can be your bet. Mine? Oh, of course. I have something very, very valuable indeed that I would be willing to put up. Yeah. I am sure in your travels through the deserts you have learned the importance of spice around here. You see, it's not just used for making your food taste good. It can also be used for any number of other very, very important matters. Healing, of course. Preserving food. Very, very important skill when you don't know when your next meal will come. Any number of very, very useful things. And these are what's known as spice crystals. You see, traveling through the desert with very large amounts of spice in boxes or crates or barrels or something like that can be quite difficult, as I'm sure you could imagine. Turbulent sands could make things knock over. They could get contaminated with the sands. And of course, it puts quite the target on your back too. Not everyone who travels the desert is as nice as me. But that is why we have spice crystals. It's a very, very simple enchantment, and it allows you to take a large amount of spice and condense it into a very manageable little morsel here. Little stones, easy to conceal, easy to transport, very, very valuable. Salt, this one is. Actually, sea salt. all the way from the seas to the south. Very treacherous journey to get there. Black pepper. Wonderful for seasoning food, of course, but also for healing, for purifying, for banishing negative spirits. And of course, the pride of the desert, saffron. Very, very valuable. No, I would not tell this to just anyone. But these little spice crystals I have here are worth more than the entire bar we sit in. It's a very simple enchantment to make it happen. And then another equally simple enchantment to remove it and make them back into the spices to be used. But of course, this is a much easier way to transport very bulky and valuable items through the desert. So let's see. A stone of this caliber. Well, it's not going to be all of these. You jest, my friend. But I will put up a fair price. Trust me, that stone would come greatly in handy. I will make sure that I put up a fair bit of my spice crystals here. I'll be generous once more, perhaps. Yes, here we are. That should do it. A very valuable mix of spices there. Very valuable spice crystals for a very valuable stone. Is that acceptable to you? Good, good. I do always love an interesting bit. I prefer things that pique my curiosity when it comes to betting and games. Well, Desert Walker, it is the moment of truth. It is time to show me if the sands have blown in your favor, or if you will be scorched by the desert. On 3, we'll reveal our cards, yes? 1, 2, 3. An oasis. That is a very good hand, my new friend. Unfortunately, even with a bit of luck on your side, there may still be others with a bit more luck. Lovely, isn't it? Beautiful little sandstorm. I told you I had a good hand. Perhaps you should have believed me. But who believes an old, dusty, washed-up trader in a place like this, Burned by the desert sun, weren't you? Well, that's the game. Cards don't lie. People do. But cards, no. Still... maybe you've got potential. You did play well, and I have to admit I'm more than a little intrigued with your intense fascination with this little trinket box. You may not have beaten me in Scorch, but you have certainly piqued my curiosity. That is a virtue in and of itself these days. Besides, perhaps you have more curious little items that I could win from you if we play Scorch again, should we journey together. Of course, it won't be all card games and drinks on the ship, you understand. No one joins my crew without being willing to work hard. Good, good. Just have to make sure sailing the desert stands is a harsh and treacherous way to travel. You're sure you're up for it? All right. If you're willing to learn, I could find a place for you on board. I will grant you safe passage to Hara in exchange for your service on my ship. And of course, if I see you slacking off, I can always just have you thrown overboard and let the desert have her way with you. Now, once we get to Hara, I can secure you an audience with the Queen to discuss this fascinating little trinket box of yours. After that, you'll be on your own, Desert Walker. I would keep your wits about you. Hara is not exactly a cozy city to visit. And I hope you have something of even more value than this to offer the Queen when you see her. Well, I suppose you can ponder that on our journey. It will be about 2 days sailing from Baywith here to the city of Hara. Plenty of time for you to come up with some sort of a plan. But not yet. As I said, I have a very thirsty crew who thanks you for buying them the next round. Didn't think I forgot, did you? Just because I let you on my crew doesn't mean you don't have to pay. Come, why don't you drink with us? Let the crew get a taste of you before we depart tomorrow. Perhaps we'll make a sand sailor out of you yet.